Okay, so my hair looks so crazy. I wanted to talk real quick about building a routine. I know I personally have challenges around that, having something that I'm doing consistently, and this is also related to work too, would drive me nuts doing the same thing over and over and over again. And there are certain things that naturally we all tend to do regularly, right? So it's not like I'm completely averse to it, but definitely when it comes to like productivity, I guess, um, doing things that are like, I guess you could say constructive. I have a hard time with routine. And I want to change that because routines are so helpful to build a sense of stability, to build up one's consistency in anything, right? It's just discipline. It's definitely a discipline thing. And Capricorns love discipline. So it does feel weird in my body to not be as consistent as I could be. So yeah, I wanted to talk about, starting a routine and how I plan on for the next week, um, uh, working at this one approach I'm going to go with to see if I can't get more, consistent. Now, we've all had like, uh, I'm sure those of us that like to plan anyway, we've all had those uh, moments, right, where you're like getting ready to plan your schedule, and it could be like a month out, a week out, or even just like planning for the day. And I don't know about you, I know that I can get pretty excited about that. It's fun for me to sit down with my calendar open and everything is blank and about to fill in the space, right? And so I go and sit down and I get to write down all the things that I'm going to do each and every day for the upcoming week because I like looking a week ahead at stuff. For some reason, I don't do very well with like daily things, but I like looking at a week out for stuff. And so I get really excited filling out these spaces with stuff. And then I end up, among other things, overloading the spaces, getting really ambitious with all the stuff that I want to put into each and every single day. And more often than not, that's where it ends. That's like I finish planning out the week, and I've done so much doing that. I've expended so much energy and excitement, I guess, in the planning stages of it, that when it comes to the execution, I fumble like nobody's business. Then, of course, that breeds within me this sense of like, I want to say self-abandonment, but it's also just that integrity. When you have like a principle, a personal principle, and integrity is one of those for me. It's basically just doing what you say you're going to do, right? Following through. And so with my personal principle, not living in alignment to that, definitely your self-esteem tends to take a hit, right? So it always, like I end up feeling down about, oh my God, for a second I thought that was a dead animal. It's just some weird flowers. Anyway. But yeah, so I end up feeling down about myself because I'm not following through like I say I'm going to follow through, but I also set myself up for failure by overloading my schedule. And I try different ways of putting my schedule together, or my to-do list together, rather. I've tried the done list as opposed to to-do list, where you just write down the things that you've done for the day. That's not really helpful for me. I've done the to-do list type of thing where you put down, time blocks, and then within that time block, you're going to do this and then that and that. That hasn't worked for me. I've also tried just listing the items that I want to do. I've also tried listing the items I want to do and allocating a certain amount of time to do them. I've done so many things. I don't even know how to get into it. I've even tried to prioritize the tasks, right? Like, so I'll list up a bunch of things. I'll put the ones that are like necessary, and then I'll notate other ones that are more of an optional thing. So it's like, okay, obviously prioritize these high priority stuff, and then the optional ones can come and go, and I have options. So like, I've tried so many ways of getting a to-do list compiled that I can actually complete. And I have, by the way, yet to complete a to-do list that I put together, because I always just, it just doesn't end up working for me. And I feel like maybe I put so much energy or interest in the planning stage of it, that when it comes to the execution, I just fall flat on my face. And so, yeah, building a routine. I'm trying once again a different strategy here for this week. And I want to share that because if you have struggled with the same stuff like me, let me just make sure you can see my face. If you've struggled with this like me, maybe the idea that I'm coming up with, and I'm keeping my notes here because I do want to organize my thoughts. I have rambled about this too much. Yeah, so maybe it can be helpful if I'm finding that it might help me. But I'm going to share what my idea is and why I think it might be useful. Take it as you will. But so, yeah, so the objective for me is to build a routine that is sustainable. It's something I can do long term. Anything that I've done consistently, I have somehow capped at like 90 days total. I have not really done something, say, daily consistently for more than 3 months for whatever reason. But I want to build a routine that's not only sustainable, but also still has flexibility. So I don't end up getting bored. It keeps things interesting. And therefore I'm more likely to do that in a long-term sense. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my intention here. Between planning things a month out, a week out, or a day out, because that's how most planners are formatted, right? I like looking at a month out for like just general things, but more specific activities, I like looking about a week out. I don't do very well with daily stuff, but I do think a week out is helpful, a helpful window of time to play around with the strategy in particular. So here is what I'm going to try to do, okay? 1, so you're looking at your blank schedule for the week, and what are you going to put down first? I put down my obligations, work obligations, social obligations, things that I am going to do. They are non-negotiable. I have to do them, right? So shifts at work, appointments, family events or whatever that I know I'm going to, that sort of thing. But these are put in first. And as far as time blocking goes, I pretty much just leave that part blank, because especially when it comes to social events or social obligations, I can't really be sure how long that I'm going to be at an event for. But I know with work, it is a little bit easier. I am able to put down like the time that I'm actually working, but it doesn't really take into account commuting and everything. So there's usually like a little bit of a cushion of time before and after that I take into account, right? So that's just what I put in first, my non-negotiables, my obligations that must be on the schedule for that week that I know of. So then the next thing, and this is where there's a little bit more thought, a little bit more self-reflection, but I have put down that I'm going to pick up to 3 to 5 things that I want to build a routine with, that I want to be more consistent with. And these are going to be things that are in the categories of things that are important to me. What do I mean by that? Is, for example, for me, I'm looking at 3 areas of my life where I want to be a lot more consistent. So 1, I totally just used that. All right, so 1, oh, this might work out really badly. Let me just see if I can do this way. Okay, this might be safe. 1 is physical fitness, physical wellness, having a routine with that. And these are not meant to be daily, not all of them anyway. It just realistically, what can I do daily? What can I do maybe multiple times a week? But the point is, it's got to be a frequency that I know I can be consistent in. And it's just a start. I could also decide later down the line, you know what, I can do more of this on a daily basis, but just start off with maybe 2 or 3 times a week, right? So you want to give yourself that flexibility. These are not things that you're trying to be doing daily, but these are things you're trying to do consistently, right? So 1, physical fitness. And what I'm also going to do, this is a bonus, is have a list, a menu of options to choose from to meet this particular thing. But for fitness, I know that I'm going to be doing 3 times a week of actual workouts, strength training, shadow boxing, some sort of like high intensity, I guess you can say, activity. But in addition to that, because I know I can, I'm already more or less doing it, but I want to keep up with it and be even more consistent than I currently am, is daily walks. I have a 7,000 to 8,000 step goal every day that I'm getting better at maintaining. There are some days where, funny enough, I'm not busy at all, and yet I drop, I definitely stop pushing to do those steps, and I absolutely have the time to do it. So yeah, that's just something I'll be developing, and so I want to stay on top of that. So daily walks, and then 3 days a week I'm going to be working out, and so that's my physical health goal, right? And so you obviously want to just think about, hey, what's the frequency? What are the activities that you specifically want to do? And put that into your schedule next, right? For me, the other two are basically something for my mental, spiritual health, or emotional regulation. This could be activities like journaling, meditation, whatever falls in line with that. It could be yoga too, which is kind of knocking out two things in one swing. Whatever the expression is. I think I just made up a new one. But then my third one is creative. I need a creative practice. This can be painting practice, drawing practice. The options are pretty much endless for me. I will probably overwhelm myself coming up with the menu, and so I do want to be more intentional and deliberate about the items on this menu. I can change it up whenever, so there's no need for me to put down every possible thing on earth that I could possibly want to do creatively. I just want to give myself like maybe no more than like 10 potential options. I might even have to reduce it to 5 options for each of these, just so I don't overwhelm myself and end up falling into like analysis paralysis or whatever, decision paralysis or whatever it is. But anyway, you pick the 3 things, the things that you really want to get consistent on. And you also do want to reflect on why those things are important to you to be consistent with. And so for me, these 3 areas in my life are very important to me. For my overall well-being. And so that's why I'm going to put them in next on my schedule as obligations. I'm saying I'm going to, but I already have. I don't know, I'm just doing this for the, for the video. But so yeah, and then the next step was basically once you've chosen your items, you come up with a realistic frequency, something that you can do these items consistently with for just this week. And I like breaking it down to just this week. I'm not committing to every single week going forward for the rest of my life. We're just taking this a week at a time, at least for me. So realistically, am I going to walk every day? Absolutely. I totally can. It's nice enough out. And even if it wasn't, I can go to the gym to do that. Get on the treadmill, get my steps in that way. The same thing with my workouts. I plan on doing that 3 times a week. 2 of those minimum have to be at the gym. So I also put that little stipulation in there because, God damn it, I have paid a monthly membership. I am going to use the gym. Okay, so that was really going to force me to go there more often. And then, of course, I get the flexibility of just doing one at home when I feel like it, like a HIIT workout or shadow boxing or something like that. So, that flexibility is going to make this a little bit more enjoyable for me. And it might be more enjoyable, it might be enjoyable for you if you have an issue with like the rigidity of doing the same thing over and over and over again. You don't have to do that, but it does have to meet certain needs. And that's why it's nice to just think about the things that are important to you that you want to get more consistent in a more general sense, and then use menu items to get more specific as the week comes up, right? Or as the day even comes up. But anyway, realistic frequency for the other goals. I want to be really honest with myself about how busy I am with the obligations that I currently have. So even though I would love to have a daily painting practice or drawing practice, depending on the medium I'm working with, I might need a really big chunk of time, and I won't always have a big chunk of time every single day. And so I have not really worked that out yet. But what I will say is that for me, creatively, I'm not just including painting or drawing, or any of these other creative activities I'm going to have on my menu. I'm also including content creation. So actually for me, if I was going to do a daily creative practice of some kind, I already know my intention is 2 days this week, or basically I'm going to do 2 videos a week starting this week. I just want to see if I can do it. And I'm lowering the barrier for being able to do that by trying to do quick enough videos that need minimal to no editing. Give myself a break on that because usually things don't make it past the cutting room floor. They don't make it past the editing stage. And that's why it's been so long since I've uploaded anything, because I'll film stuff and then criticize it heavily and be so perfectionist about it. And then I never upload it because of that. But in this case, I'm making it just more of like an objective. I'm only trying to post 2 videos a week. Don't care if it's ever seen. Don't care what the deal is with those. I'm just doing the habit of it, doing the practice of it, right? And so whatever happens from there happens, but it's the consistency I'm trying to get good at before I worry about the quality of things. So I'm including content creation. So that's already 2 times a week that I'm basically filming, editing, uploading, right? And so now I can also then take, say, 3 more days out of the week or come up with something consistently. Say if I can sit down and dedicate like an hour for the other days to sit down and do some acrylic painting or drawing. I'm going to figure that part out. But the point is, come up with a frequency that is realistic for what you're trying to do, and make sure that feels good in your body and all that stuff. So yeah, that was my objective. That is my attempt for the week is, and here's the thing, putting these items now next in your schedule, aside from your obligations, you're likely to have quite a bit of space, at least in some of those days after that. You know what I mean? And so leaving it at just that for now. If you have extra time, perfect. Bonus time, you can do whatever you'd like with it. You can do more things that are important to you at that point. But prioritize these things, because by prioritizing first, not just your obligations, but the things that are important to you that you want to be more consistent in, you're basically ticking those boxes and accomplishing that consistency, that habit building, that routine building, almost without even knowing it, because these are things that are important to you that are going to bring you satisfaction and enjoyment, and you're doing them, at least to start, just for the sake of doing them. You know, so making it as easy as possible to get up and go do those things is going to be really helpful here. Keeping things as simple as possible, and again, being very realistic about the frequency at which you can do these things is going to, I think, for me, help set myself up for greater success, a higher chance, it should be this week, of being 100% complete on my tasks. And then whatever I have left in terms of time, I can do with what I wish. I can goof off if I want to, no big deal, because I've already feel like I've accomplished enough and fulfilled myself by doing these things that are more important. I would feel less guilty resting or, you know, watching a drama that, you know, one of the many that I have on deck pretty much, or reading books or something like that, or just doing more of this, right? Like, so I feel like this might be a helpful approach to building a routine for myself. And if you decide you want to give this a shot too, feel free to let me know how it goes, what works for you or what doesn't work for you, because obviously I'm trying this out. I'm not sure how it's going to go, and I'm still going to want to develop something to help me out. So if you have any suggestions too, I would love to hear them. But anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. And actually, because it's so beautiful out and it's not gotten dark enough yet, I'm going to finish my day as of now with another walk, just to get all my steps in, because I'm like halfway there already. So yeah, I think I'm going to just call it here, but see you next time.